Please pray with me. More of you, O Christ, less of me. More of you, O Christ, less of me. More of you, O Christ, less of me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts draw us closer to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Hail, Holy Queen, enthroned above, O Maria. Hail, Mother of mercy and of love, O Maria. Triumph all ye seraphim, sing with us ye cherubim, heaven and earth resound the hymn, Salve, 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 Maria. Now, I was raised a Presbyterian, and we did not sing about Mary. In fact, we didn't think much about Mary, and the only time Mary ever came up was once a year on the third Sunday of Advent. We would read Mary's Magnificat. But we would never sing Ave Maria. We would never sing Hail Mary. That was for Catholics. And maybe some Episcopalians and occasionally a Lutheran. And Methodists on a pretty high church day. But Presbyterians, oh, no, 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 no. And the Baptists, well, I don't think they'd even heard of Mary. And it's fascinating how all the different strands of the Christian tradition have taken these characters that were around Jesus in the Gospels and talked about later in the epistles and chosen to emphasize some over others. And it's true between the Gospels as well. I mean, Luke not only has lots of women in it, but they have names. In Mary, it's like, and the women, and the women, and the women. We don't get Mary in the garden. We don't get Mary, the mother of God, for that matter. We don't get any of the Marys in Mark. We just get, and the women were there. What we choose to emphasize creates our world. We are in charge of our own sense of reality. Many of you, when you talked about our strengths, I know you were also talking about your personal strengths. Like, Brian is a very hospitable person, and radical hospitality is in the DNA of this place. We absolutely said from day one we wanted it to be about hospitality, and that's why we called it the Good Table. I also know that resilience is one of Terry's superpowers. It's not just something we've done over 6 years. Terry named actually one of her own superpowers. Nancy, healing, it's one of your superpowers. Maybe it wasn't always, but it has become a superpower. So what we say our power is what it is. So when we read this text, this amazing text that is ascribed to be a song that Mary sang. And we really should sing it, but that's okay. We've sung enough of it. This song tradition in the Hebrew folks is a strong one, and it's always the women who sing the songs. Miriam also had a tambourine, but this is specifically very much like the Song of Deborah, and Deborah was one of the great judges of ancient Israel. I mean, we think often of the Judeo-Christian, Hebraic, Muslim, Christian tradition as being very patriarchal, but if you actually read the texts, most of the women were judges in ancient Israel. They were the ones who decided what was what. And Deborah was one of the great judges of Israel. And she sang a song very similar, had many of the same themes. Also, Hannah, who was another great woman of Israel, who gave birth at an advanced age, just like Sarai, who became Sarah, who was the mother of Abraham's children, Isaac and Ishmael. So Mary is in this great song tradition, but she's not a great woman of Israel. She's not a leader. She's just a young woman who is pregnant in a dubious way. Let's just say we don't know exactly the story. And Luke has given us a story. Matthew gives us another story. Mark doesn't touch it, neither does John. Only Matthew and Luke try to explain Jesus' human origins, and both descriptions are a little outlandish, to say the least. But in this culture, when a young woman is pregnant in a dubious way, this does not make you a great leader. In fact, this puts you at the lowest of the low of the heap. So this song about how the lowly will be strong and the poor will be lifted up, and God's strong arm of love will do it all. I've always been fascinated by the phrase, the strong arm of God. First of all, I don't think of God as having arms, because that's kind of ridiculous. But a strong love, not a sweet little sentimental love like we have for a puppy. No, a strong love. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King wrote a book called Strength to Love, which, if you've never read it, highly recommend. It's one of his more accessible works. And in it, he spends a lot of time talking about how much strength it takes to love your enemy. How much strength it takes to keep loving when you really don't feel like it. How much strength it takes to love someone who is unlovable. Genuinely unlovable, for whatever reason. Like you just can't imagine it. And that's where Bonnie comes in, imagination. Because if you can't imagine someone worthy of love, it's an exercise of the strength of imagination to imagine every single person in creation. Every being, every animale, everyone as not only worthy of love, but indeed the face of love. Because love is not something you just sit in a room by yourself and have. Love is a team sport. It's at least a duet, preferably a group. Love takes strength and imagination and radical hospitality. It takes courage and resilience. And in the end, what is it, Nancy? It's healing. Love heals. And I firmly believe, while I don't always agree that humanity is basically good, I'm not sure that's true, I do know that love wins. No matter what happens, if we double down on love and can keep loving even when it's difficult, even when it takes every bit of strength that we have, all the creativity, everything we can imagine, that's what changes things. That's what changes things. And that's what Mary is singing about. Love for a child that didn't even have a place to be born that was proper, just in a stable, in a borrowed stable at that, according to Luke. A child that came with no advantages, no privileges, really nothing going for him. And parents that really had very little going for them either. But Luke imagines that the whole universe rejoices at that birth of that child, like the universe should rejoice at the birth of every child. It's not that Jesus is the only one to celebrate. It's every child. And as you all sang in your song, every child have a bed, every child to be warm, every child to be fed, every child. When people say, what's the reason for the season? That's it. That's it. That we love one another with the strong arm of love. May it be so. Gaudete, gaudete. Let us rejoice in the love we have received and return that love as blessings to others. Amen.